There are three words you've been repeating your entire life. Three simple words that feel like honesty, like humility, even like wisdom. But every time you say them, you're building an invisible wall between yourself and every good thing trying to reach you. You don't even notice it happening, and today, that ends. My name is Father Simon. For over 20 years, I've sat across from people in their darkest moments, listening to confessions, watching patterns, seeing the same trap catch different souls in different bodies. I've heard thousands of stories, and beneath the surface of so many broken lives, I keep finding the same three words, spoken like a prayer, but working like poison. Let me tell you about a man who came to see me 3 years ago. He was 47 years old, talented, intelligent, with a family that loved him. But he couldn't hold a job for more than 18 months, couldn't finish projects he started, couldn't believe that anything good would last. When I asked him what he believed about himself, deep down, he said it without hesitation, like it was carved into his bones. I'm not enough. 3 words, I'm not enough. He said them so naturally, so comfortably, that he didn't even realize he was speaking a curse over his own life. He thought he was being realistic, humble, self-aware. But what he was actually doing was signing a contract with failure every single morning before his feet hit the floor. Now you might be thinking those 3 words don't apply to you. Maybe you say something different. I can't change, or I always fail, or I'm too broken. The exact words vary, but the pattern is always the same. You've taken a temporary truth about a moment in your past and turned it into a permanent identity for your future. You've looked at your wounds and decided they're not injuries. They're who you are. And here's what most people don't understand. Your mind doesn't know the difference between a fact and a statement you repeat enough times. When you say, I'm not enough, or I always mess up, or nothing good happens to me, your brain doesn't argue. It doesn't fact-check. It just writes it down and starts looking for evidence to prove you right. It's like installing a filter on everything you see. You could walk through a field of open doors, and all you'll notice are the locked ones. Someone could offer you genuine love, and you'll find the one reason it won't work. A blessing could land in your lap, and you'll be too busy explaining why you don't deserve it to actually receive it. I've watched this happen over and over again. People praying for change while poisoning themselves with the same toxic sentences every morning, asking for breakthrough while reinforcing the walls, begging for peace while narrating their life like a tragedy that hasn't ended yet. If what I'm saying right now is hitting something deep inside you, do me a favor. Support this video with a like and subscribe to this channel. There are conversations ahead that go even deeper than this one, and I don't want you to miss them. Now, let's go further into what's really happening here. You think those 3 words are just thoughts, harmless observations. But let me show you how they actually work, because once you see the mechanism, you can't unsee it. Every time you repeat, I'm not enough, you're not just describing yourself. You're instructing yourself. You're telling your subconscious mind what to expect, what to accept, what to settle for. And your subconscious is a loyal servant. It doesn't question your orders. It just obeys. So when an opportunity comes, something that requires you to believe you're capable, your subconscious whispers, but you said you're not enough, remember? And suddenly, you hesitate, you second-guess, you sabotage, not because you're weak, but because you're being obedient to the wrong master, the story you've been telling yourself. There was a woman I knew who came to me after her third divorce. 3 marriages, 3 failures, all ending the same way. With her convinced she was unlovable. And every time she entered a new relationship, she brought that belief with her like luggage she refused to unpack. She would test her partners, push them away, create problems that didn't exist, all to prove the thing she feared most, that she was right about herself. I'm unlovable. 3 words. A loop she couldn't escape because she kept choosing to stay inside it. And here's the part that most people miss, the part that makes this whole pattern so dangerous. You don't just say these words when you're struggling. You say them when things are going well, too. Because if you've been carrying this identity for years, success feels like a threat. It doesn't match the story. So you'll find a way to ruin it, to bring yourself back down to the level you've claimed as yours. May seem like that's the whole problem. Just stop saying those words and everything changes, right? But this is only the first layer. What's underneath is what people hide even from themselves, and it's about to get uncomfortable. Because the real question isn't why you say these 3 words. The question is, what are you getting out of them? And yes, you're getting something. Nobody repeats a pattern for years unless it's serving them somehow. Maybe those words protect you from trying and failing. If you've already decided you're not enough, then you never have to risk being proven wrong by the world. You've already lost in your own mind, so external failure doesn't hurt as much. It's expected, it's safe. Or maybe those words get you sympathy. People feel sorry for you. They lower their expectations. They don't push you as hard. And somewhere deep down, you've learned that being the broken one, the struggling one, the not enough one, gets you a kind of attention that success never would. Or maybe, and this is the hardest one to admit, maybe those words let you stay exactly where you are without feeling guilty about it. Because if you're too broken, or not capable, or always failing, then you don't have to do the terrifying work of change. You can stay small, stay stuck, stay safe, and blame it all on something you've labeled as beyond your control. Your identity. I've sat with people who were so attached to their brokenness that healing felt like losing themselves. Who were so used to the weight of their story that freedom felt like floating away into nothing. They didn't know who they'd be without their wounds, so they kept them close, kept them fresh, kept them central to everything they said about themselves. While you're sitting here thinking you're just being honest about your limitations, what's actually happening is you're choosing them every single day. Every single repetition, you're not describing reality, you're creating it. And the most dangerous moment isn't when you hit rock bottom and everything falls apart. The most dangerous moment is when you quietly accept these 3 words as truth and stop questioning them. When they become so familiar that you forget they're even there, running in the background like a program you didn't know was installed. You've already seen this pattern before, even if you didn't connect the dots. Think back to a time when something good almost happened. A relationship that could have worked. A job that could have changed everything. The opportunity that was right there. And then think about what you told yourself right before it slipped away. I'm willing to bet those 3 words were involved. You saw them, you just didn't recognize them as the reason everything collapsed. Now here's what changes everything. Language is reversible. If words can build a prison, words can also build a door. But you have to be surgical about this. You can't just slap positive affirmations over deep wounds and expect them to heal. You can't say, I am enough, 100 times, while your whole nervous system is screaming that you're lying. So here's what you actually do, and I want you to take this seriously, because this is the practical part that makes everything else matter. First, you have to catch yourself. For the next 7 days, I want you to notice every time you say those 3 words, or any variation of them. Don't judge it. Don't try to stop it yet. Just notice. Write it down if you can. You need to see how often this is happening because I promise you, it's more than you think. Second, you ask yourself one question every time you catch it. Is this absolutely true, or is this a story I've been telling? Not, is this how I feel? Feelings lie, but is this a fact, or is this a narrative? Because most of the time, it's a narrative. It's an interpretation of old pain that you've turned into a prophecy. Third, you replace it with something true but neutral. Not I am powerful and unstoppable, because you won't believe that yet. But something like I'm learning, or I'm in process, or I'm discovering what's true about me. Something that leaves room for movement, for change, for the possibility that you're not a finished story yet. Fourth, you find one piece of evidence from your past that contradicts the 3 words. Just one. A time you were enough. A moment you succeeded. A day you didn't fail. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. And you hold on to that like a rope in the dark, because it proves that your identity is not as fixed as you've believed. And fifth, you make a decision that from this moment forward, you're going to speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you're trying to protect, not someone you're trying to punish. Because that's what those 3 words have been. Punishment. A daily sentencing for crimes you didn't commit, for failures that weren't all your fault, for wounds that were inflicted on you, not chosen by you. And right here, this is where the quietest but most powerful shift happens. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, nobody around you will see it, but inside, something cracks open. The wall you've been building with those 3 words starts to crumble, one sentence at a time. And what's on the other side isn't perfection. It's not some fantasy version of yourself. It's just you, without the curse. You, without the loop. You, with the chance to become something you've been talking yourself out of for years. Let me tell you how that man's story ended. The one who couldn't hold a job. He started catching himself every time he said, "I'm not enough." And at first it was dozens of times a day. In the shower, driving to work, lying in bed at night. But slowly, the gap between repetitions got longer. And in those gaps, he started trying things he'd given up on. Small things, then bigger things. 2 years later, he's still at the same job. Not because he's stuck, but because he finally believes he belongs there. He stops running before he gets fired. He stopped sabotaging before the collapse. And when I asked him what changed, he said, "I stopped agreeing with the voice that told me I wasn't allowed to stay. That's what this is really about. Not positive thinking, not pretending everything is fine, but stopping your agreement with the lie, revoking the contract you signed with failure, taking back the authority you handed over to 3 words that were never true in the first place. If you've recognized yourself in any part of this, write one sentence in the comments. Just one. It could be, "I see the pattern now," or "I've been saying those words too," or even just, "I'm starting today." Sometimes naming it out loud to someone else is the first act of breaking free. You don't have to stay trapped in a story someone else wrote for you. You don't have to keep repeating the sentences that were handed to you by pain, by failure, by people who didn't know how to love you the right way. You can choose different words, and those different words will build a different life. Here's your daily protocol, starting today. Every morning before you do anything else, say this out loud. Today, I speak life over myself. I will not curse what I'm trying to heal. Then 3 times during the day, catch yourself and replace one negative sentence with one neutral truth. And every night before sleep, write down one thing you did that contradicts the 3 words. Just one. Do this for 30 days, not because it's magic, but because repetition is how you got into this prison, and repetition is how you'll walk out. You've spent years training yourself to believe the worst. Now you're going to spend 30 days training yourself to believe what's actually possible. This isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming free. Free from the voice that's been holding you hostage. Free from the identity that was built on wounds instead of truth. Free to receive the blessings that have been trying to reach you, but couldn't get past the wall you built with 3 words. You're not too broken for this. You're not too far gone. You're not enough. You're just someone who's been speaking the wrong language over your life. And today, that changes. Not because I said so, but because you're finally ready to stop agreeing with the lies. Now go. Start today. And watch what happens when you stop cursing yourself and start speaking truth.